publish this. Cool. The numbers are going up. Means we're recording. So
and we're live.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not live. So if we can edit stuff out if we want.
What shoes are those? Those look comfy.
They are actually pretty comfy. I was
Danners?
Yeah.
Nice.
They're like a hiking shoe.
Yeah, yeah.
And I always wear them in the shop. Stand on concrete all day.
Yeah.
And I go through shoes like crazy.
These are smoked. I need like 2 new pairs of shoes.
Yeah. So I figured walking around all week, put these bad guys on.
Yeah. Danner makes good boots too. So.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I found a pair a while ago. I think they were Vasky or Vask whatever. Yeah. That were pretty comfortable. Then of course they stopped making them. So.
Of course.
I should have bought like 10 pair.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a good comfy shoe. Like for everyday use, like at the shop and whatnot. Trying to find something. I have wider feet. I don't like my toes being like cramped. So that's my biggest thing, is trying to find one that's wide enough, that's light, and yeah.
I went to Fleet Feet, and they like it's a running shoe, place. But you stand on like a computer, and it actually like 3D measures your foot, so they know like exactly what shoe size, what width, and then they can like take that and be like, hey, like New Balances are more for your style and like whatever, because all the shoes are different.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And I got 2 pairs of shoes that this one and my green ones, and they've been really actually comfortable on my feet. So
sweet.
Yeah. But I mean, they're not like fancy shoes, they're just like sneakers. Yeah. So well, on that note.
Welcome to the Big Tech Sortas podcast. I'm Ike. We're joined with Ian, my house key, and David Wilson from D. Wilson Manufacturing. So
thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, dude. We're excited. We've known you for a little bit now, and kind of hung out with you a bit, and glad to have you on the show and
pick your brain.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's much brain to pick, but
there's something in there.
You can try.
We'll dig deep. We'll find it. But yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of who you are, what you do, and
oh boy. Well,
favorite color.
Favorite color. I always say it depends. Depends on what it is. So like if it's a car, I like a white car.
Really?
Or if it's like a T-shirt, I like black T-shirts. So I don't know. I feel like not many people say that. So it depends. So me, who am I? What do I do? So I'm Dave Wilson. I own D. Wilson Manufacturing. How I got started in D. Wilson Manufacturing, I would say it's probably had a lot to do with a misspent childhood. So for some reason or another, my parents were strangely okay with me buying guns from a very early age. I think the first gun I ever had was like a Marlin 22 bolt action that I won at. There was a local church that was like their fundraiser for the year. Like there's this just like big pig roast, and like every 10 minutes the entire day they would like raffle off a gun.
Oh, wow. And
it was like getting towards the end of the day, and the guy was like, they had like this giant bin with everyone's tickets in, and the guy was like, oh, you want to come over here and draw one? And I, reached in this big bin and drew one out, and it was my own ticket.
Oh, shit.
Dude, that's pretty sweet.
No way. So I was pretty pumped. I was like 7, got this little 22, and it's so cool when you're a little kid and you're like, oh, I shot a 50-round sleeve of CCI 22 shots. You're like, oh yeah, it was a good day at the range.
Like I'm out there shooting.
Yeah. And then, a year later, I was like, oh yeah, I want like a semi-auto. I was like, maybe a 1022 would be pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
So my parents were like, okay. I mean, I had like a grass cutting job, so I'd save up all my money. And I was like, yeah, I want to get this 1022. And of course, like the first thing is any little kid, you read through like, trying to think of what the big gun magazines were at the time, or gun like supplier stuff. Maybe
cheaper than dirt.
Cheaper than dirt.
CDNN or not?
Do you guys remember U.S. Cavalry?
Yes.
Like my brothers and I were obsessed with that. We're like, we'd find the most ridiculous things. Like we need berets because we are Green Berets.
Smoky Mountain Knife Works was another one. Did you ever get that?
No, I don't think I did.
I think it was Smoky Mountain Knife Works.
I don't think I remember that one, but yeah, U.S. Cavalry was a big one. I feel like every once in a while they would have like 1022 stuff, like you can get a fluted barrel or a Hogue stock. And I was like, oh yeah. I need to be like some super cool sniper. So, I like bought all this stuff and put it in this 1022. And then, like, as time progressed, I just got more and more into guns. And, strangely enough, like, I would say I don't really shoot a lot. I really just like the evolution of the mechanical designs of guns and the history of them. I think that's really cool. So fast forward a couple years, I was getting my engineering degree, and I found my way into a machine shop on campus. And I was there, trying to learn machining and stuff like that for school projects. I was like, oh man, like maybe I could make some cool gun stuff. So that kind of evolved into me making and selling gun ports out of my college dorm room. So,
campus security.
Yeah. So, it kind of evolved into that. I remember I had this one big project. I wanted to, it was right about the time Knights Armament came out with their scalloped selectors.
Yeah.
This was in like 2000-ish. No, not 2000. I was 13. 2010.
Okay.
2009, 2010. I was like, oh man, that's really cool. But they didn't sell them. So I was like, oh, well, maybe I could just like make them. So I remember I bought every summer during college I would work and like save all the money I made with an internship or something, and that would be like my money for tuition. So I was like, I really want to do this project, but I really only have the money that's going to pay my tuition bill in like a month. I was like, shit, what am I going to do? I was like, whatever. Hopefully I can make the money back. So I bought all these safety selectors, machined them with the scallop, similar to Knights was doing. And then I was like, I didn't sleep for a few days. I was like, what am I going to do if this doesn't work?
Yeah.
And then I remember I put them up for sale on ARFCOM.
Yeah.
And sold them all in like 24 hours.
Oh, shit.
I was like, this is fucking amazing. Like, this is so easy. I remember, like, I had this, like, little parkerizing pot set up in my college dorm room, like, big box fan in the window, blowing all this stuff out. It was nuts. So, it's all kind of, like, dumb stuff like that. I figured things that I want for myself, there's probably other people out there that want it, too. So I just kind of scaled it from there, and, what was it, probably 6 or 7 years ago now, I started to get like some equipment, and I just had it in the basement of my house. Started doing stuff, got my FFL. It's just kind of grown and blown up from there.
Yeah.
Now we have a pretty big industrial shop in Colorado, a couple employees, pretty much everything AR related we do, a lot of machining based stuff. So it's interesting, like some people ask me what I do, and usually I'm more inclined to say like, oh, I own a machine shop versus like, oh, I'm a gunsmith. Because I feel like when you think of gunsmith, you think of like some guy working on...
I gotta change out the stock on my Ruger American.
Yeah, like refinishing the stock on Papa's bolt action gun from 1913 or something
Doing
like
a cold
that.
blue on this,
Yeah. I mean, I think stuff like that is very cool.
That's an art, like,
yeah.
really is.
So local to me in Colorado is the Colorado School of the Trades, and they are more a traditional gunsmithing school that I've gone in and visited a few times, and it's actually pretty cool to see some of that like very traditional gunsmithing work.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just something I don't do. I think I kind of tinker with it in my free time every once in a while, but yeah.
Did you mentioned Knights earlier, and I walked down to the Knights booth. Earlier. Did you see the old school?
I haven't been there yet. I've been trying to get there like the past couple days. I keep seeing everyone posting about it.
Dude, it's 2 rifles, and it's that old school swag.
I think it's like the serial number 3 or something like that.
Yeah, it's like in the picture, Eugene's holding like that rifle that's there, and I'm like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, I was trying to do that in between the podcasts from today, this morning and now, and then I kept on getting hung up at every booth, and I never made it over there. But after this one,
you need to run down there quick and check it out.
And I gotta see their new like 3D printed like flow through cans.
Yeah, everybody was finger fucking that, so I didn't get to look at it. I was more interested in.
I want to see that AR-10, like serial number
cool.
3.
He's got like another one down there too. That's like
I think in the middle it's like an old SR-25 match, which is like a 24-inch barrel. It has, if you look at the design, it almost looks like a Mod 2 gas block in like 10 generations ago. And one of my employees was actually telling me, because we actually just had one in the shop not too long ago, that apparently that knurled nut in front of the gas block comes off, and there's actually a suppressor that goes on.
Oh, shit.
That I had no idea about, but apparently Larry Vickers mentioned it in his maybe one of his more recent books.
Yeah, I need to pick up some of those too. Yeah, I missed. You didn't go to like that 100th year anniversary, did you? Down there at Knights.
Oh no, I didn't make it to
It
that.
was in November. I found out about it too late, and they had already sold out. I signed up to be on the wait list, and I was like number like 135
Oh,
on the wait
geez.
list. I was like, yeah, that's not happening.
Have you guys ever been to the what do they call it, the International Military Institute, or where they have the huge, like, what do you call that, museum?
Mm-hmm. I haven't been there. No, I really would like to go.
Is that the one that, like, on Knight's property?
I believe so.
Yeah, it's down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where that stoner event was.
Okay.
Not like stoner, but like Eugene stoner.
The different stoner.
Not the Colorado stoner.
But I think, like, even going to that would be so cool to see. Is I feel like I heard Reed mention it in a podcast one time, that it was always very cool for the designers to be like, oh, this design is an evolution of, whatever older version of something. And they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to go take a look at it. And just walk over to the museum and
Yeah.
take it apart and be like, yeah, this is where this design was derived from. Like, oh, sweet. That's really cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Kevin from Q has his podcast with
Trey on there.
yeah. And if you have not
That's
listened,
a good episode.
if you have not listened to that yet, I think it's 2 or 3 parts, and like they get super nerdy and go like really into the history of Knights, and it's like mind blown. Like it's super interesting, super interesting.
I think I did listen to that one.
Yeah, it's good for those out there that want to listen to a good podcast.
When you're not busy listening to the BTO
Yeah.
podcast,
Actually, you can't listen to any other podcast.
Yeah.
So
we will find you.
yeah, pretend I didn't just say that.
Ian, you're fired.
Damn it!
Darn it.
Can I at least get home?
Yeah,
You got to walk.
Yeah.
Sorry.
we'll throw you in a suitcase.
That's fine. It's fine.
So, have you always been in Colorado, or?
No. I actually grew up in central Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
After I graduated college in 2011, the job market was kind of iffy at the time. Coming out of the 2008, 2009 recession, there wasn't a lot of places hiring. So I ended up working for a pretty big defense contractor in Wisconsin. So after school, I packed up and moved to Wisconsin for about 9 years. And then about 3 years ago, I moved to Colorado.
Is that when you kind of left the corporate America side? Or?
Yeah, so I worked in corporate America for like 9 years. I only worked for that defense contractor. I kind of decided that corporate America really wasn't for me. I kind of like to write my own ticket. So I think as I mentally made that decision that I was going to focus on D. Wilson manufacturing and some other stuff I do, I kind of just worked my ass off for about a year, and then was like, all right, this is it. I was actually pretty nervous to leave my corporate job. I think just the fear of the unknown, like, oh, well, what if people just suddenly stop asking me to do work on their guns? Like, what am I going to do? Like, I don't know. But then, in hindsight, 3 years later, I'm like, dang, why didn't I do this sooner?
Yeah.
So
A lot more fun, I bet.
yeah, it's it's kind of a very different perspective. I like I'm out here at SHOT Show this week. I know my guys back at the shop are still getting stuff done. I know I'm probably going to have a mountain of work to do when I get back, but I got a lot done before I left. I think I only had a couple jobs in my queue, so that was kind of nice. So I don't feel too bad not being at the shop for a couple days, but it's nice to have things you enjoy doing, being work related. If I want to go pig hunting or something like that, it's a business trip. So that's fun to go do. You know,
Yeah.
you meet lots of interesting people.
Nice.
Yeah.
You do a lot of work with like on LMT guns. I know. I think that's a pretty popular, or at least from what I've seen, it seems like that's a pretty popular service that you offer, like the MRP cuts and stuff.
Yeah, I was. You know, Joe at LMT asked me about this the other day. He's like, how many barrel conversions do you do a year? And I went back and looked, and I think this past year it was maybe like 450.
Wow.
He's like, oh, dang, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I mean, it's you know, that one drunken night when I figured out how to do MRP conversions a couple years ago is kind of paying off. So that's been a really big service. You know, we're kind of becoming a bigger and bigger LMT dealer.
Mm-hmm.
I think the one advantage we have, it seems that a lot of people want to, you know, they might buy a barrel from us. We have the ability to shorten and thread it, pin and weld it before we ship it, which is kind of nice. I don't know that a lot of other LMT dealers have that ability.
I know in the past, like somebody's bought it and they wanted it shipped to you to
Yeah.
do that because you didn't have the barrel at the time. Yeah, so we've done that a time or two.
Yeah, and that works too. I mean, we're happy to do that.
It's cool to be able to just like buy it from you and before it ever leaves, just like, hey, go ahead and doctor it up this way. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
pretty cool.
So it is kind of cool to bring that to the table with LMT and, you know, make it a little bit more modular of a gun.
Because you're doing stuff with like shortening rails and changing rails. Also.
Yeah, we do some of that too. It was actually kind of funny. I stopped by the AGM booth. They make thermals and stuff like that. And the very first URX converted MRP was hanging on the wall.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
something I did is hanging in their booth, and I think it was even in like their product brochure.
Oh, wow. That's
It's
cool.
like, I mean that kind of makes you proud seeing
Yeah.
stuff like that. So we have done stuff like that. I know the quad war upper has become, you know, a few people want that done, or you essentially take a rifle length quad and chop it to spec war length. You know, stuff like that. It's kind of fun to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool to see what you guys are doing with that. I mean, I'm a fan of LMT, and 3 of the guys at the shop just sent barrels to you to get the LMT barrel conversion done. So
Well, I think it's kind of cool if you think about it. I think one of the main benefits of an LMT upper, or monolithic upper, is the quick change barrel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I understand from LMT's perspective, they're not going to make every single barrel configuration out there. You know, every oddball caliber, wildcat, whatever, custom gas system length. So it brings a lot to the table. If someone wants to do that, well, we can make it happen.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I think we've done like even 458 SOCOM and done a couple of 350 Bushmasters and stuff like that. But even 22 barrels or 9mm, stuff like that. I mean, people want to do it,
yeah.
and it's cool to be able to do that for them.
And even it's cool, even like in the 5.56 realm, you can pick like whatever barrel your pet barrel is, like whether it's Hodge or Criterion or, you know.
Hayden sent one of the new Roscoe Dufresne barrels.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so like that specific 11.
Yeah, if you don't feel like spending $500 on a LMT, well, you get the gas tube and the gas block, I guess, too, on the barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you can kind of whatever barrel you prefer, you can go get the conversion.
Yeah,
on it.
whether you know you're trying to meet some need with it being a heavy use barrel. You know, you want to put something like Hodge in it. We've done quite a few conversions on proof barrels. You know, someone wanting to make the gun a fair bit lighter, and they're just, you know, maybe they're hunting with it or something like that. They don't want to carry around the weight all day. And they're just looking for a match grade barrel to put in it. You know, it's all ends of the spectrum, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. You started making some like custom tooling too. Like you have a 3D printer.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And that was kind of one of my first things too. Back in my college days, I really wanted to build an upper with a URX2 on it. I was like, oh yeah, that's so cool. Like I gotta have it. But at the time, Knights wasn't really selling the URX wrench for them. I was like, well, shit, how am I going to even install this thing? So I sat down at this machine shop I worked at and basically reversed engineered a wrench that would fit on the nut. And then I machined one. And all these other people were like, oh, well, can I have one? It's like, well, I mean,
It'll
sure,
cost you.
I guess. So, I'd buy a bunch of material and machine a couple more. And that kind of caught on. So I don't even know how many hundreds of those wrenches I've sold to date. But, it's cool to offer stuff like that. Unfortunately, Knights hasn't been, they don't seem to mind, so that's a good thing.
Shh, stop talking about it.
Jack, don't watch this.
Yeah, Jack. Sorry, buddy. So it's kind of cool to work on the guns, see how they go together, come apart, and offer some tooling. Like we make a couple other things too. We make a castle nut wrench for a Mod 2 gas block. We're making those. We haven't made any for a while. People keep asking us, so we need to make another batch of those here soon. Or like the little tool to remove the QD socket on URX4. So like if you want to Cerakote it, if you pop those out, then the Cerakote job looks a lot cleaner.
Yeah.
I mean, some people just Cerakote over them. Maybe I'm a perfectionist and just like to take it out. So.
Well, speaking of that, I think your pin and weld jobs always look absolutely beautiful too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Speaking of perfectionists, you like get that and you're like, is that done at the factory?
It's interesting. Like we've had a few people over the years call us and be like, "You didn't pin and weld this thing." I'm like, "Oh yeah, can you like send us a picture?" And you see a picture, they're like, "Oh, that's the weld." Like that looks so nice. I didn't think a weld would look like that.
I mean, like I've seen some hack.
Oh God.
Some hack pin and weld jobs where it's like just looks like they stuck silly putty and I don't know what else in it, and you're like, that does not look good. And then you look at one of yours and you're like, that's beautiful.
Now, don't get me wrong. Most of them look pretty good. Every once in a while, you'll get one that doesn't really look the greatest, and you might have to redo it or something like that, or clean it up a little bit. But we aim to get them to look pretty nice.
They look really good.
I mean, I think after, I don't even know how many I've done ever. Maybe 3.
At least 5.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Plus or minus.
Yeah, probably about that.
How many do you, in like last year, how many do you think you did?
A lot. I think it was just for like retail customers, maybe like 1,300.
God.
And then I know like we do a couple for you guys every once in a while.
Yeah,
If you, I know you guys have like some 14.5 uppers you send us every once in a while that we do.
Yeah, we've sent you a bunch of stuff.
Some oddball stuff like that. We've done some for different OEMs that just don't have the ability to do it in-house. They'll send us, I don't know, 50 barrels at a time.
Oh, nice.
We'll do them, send them back.
Yeah, I know you like post on Facebook, whatever. You got like a whole line of stuff that you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, and sometimes like that, it's easy just to do them all at once, knock them out.
Yeah.
It may take the whole day, but
At least they're done.
Yeah. I mean, we like to do stuff like that. It's simple. Not every shop or retailer wants to do stuff like that or take on stuff like that in house. So it's fun to do. Build a relationship with retailers. Like you guys.
Yeah.
We love doing stuff for you guys. I saw what Justin just shipped me a box of barrels earlier today, maybe.
Yeah.
So.
What else you got going on? What's coming down the pipeline for you?
Ooh,
Any projects? Anything you can share with the world?
So I'm trying to think. What do we got going on? I do have one kind of sleeper project it's going to be interesting.
Is that the
Does it start with an X, or is that something different?
The X.
And an M.
Oh,
and a
no.
dash?
No, not that one. That one's going to be cool, too. That one is going to have a pretty cool fire control group in it, I'll say that.
A spicy unit?
Extra spicy. Extra spicy. So one of my guys, we come up with all kinds of harebrained stuff at the shop on a daily basis. They're like, we should build this. So one project, I'll tell you guys what it is.
Okay.
So I've been, since probably about a year ago, I've been doing a lot of stuff with 8.6 Blackout.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we sold a bunch of reloading dies. We
Yeah.
made some trim dies, so you could convert cases. We help people. A lot of people convert cases. I've been kind of playing around with it in some personal guns. So one of my guys was like, you know what we should do? We should build an MP5 SD in 8.6.
Oh God.
Like, I don't really want to do that. But, the other day I was talking to another buddy. He's like, we were talking about, what is it, PTRs. Because it's pretty easy. Legal disclaimer, no, it's not very easy to convert one into a post sample. So I was like, oh, well, maybe we could just like get a PTR. I think it's called the 51, the real short one. And the front end is the same length as an SD or like a normal MP5. It's like, well, what we'll do, we'll just buy one, chop the front end off, put an SD kit on it with the different handguard, and we'll just make a barrel for it. We still have to figure out how we're going to do the suppressor. I'm like, this thing's going to be insane.
We can do that.
So basically,
What about like the mag and like how's that all going to work?
it'll just take a normal G3 mag.
Oh, okay.
Because the 51 is like a G3 size.
Yeah.
So the receiver section will be kind of stretched in the magwell area for it to take the normal 308 mag.
Yeah.
And then the front end would look just like an SD. So like stuff like that, you're like,
The things
it's a cool idea. Like, screw it, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Why not?
That's gonna be awesome.
the things that you can do when you have machinery at your disposal.
Well, so the hard thing in it all was, so usually 8.6 is shot out of a very fast twist barrel. Like normal 308 is like a 1 in 10 twist, and 8.6 is a 1 in 3 twist.
Holy shit.
So it's
It's a big bullet though. So you gotta.
Well, I think part of it too is it was designed around being subsonic or always being shot subsonic. So the advantage, so when you're shooting subsonics, you're obviously limited on how many feet per second it's going. So what they are starting to realize is you can cause a lot more catastrophic damage to a target if the bullet is spinning very fast. So what your lack in forward momentum of the bullet, you're making up for in spin of the bullet. So if you think of like how a blender works and the cavitation it causes, the bullet's essentially doing the same thing on whatever it hits.
Wow.
So they have these, I've seen some crazy expanding stuff, but it works. I've shot some pigs with it, and they get hit pretty hard. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of one of those pet projects. You're like, why not? Let's just do it.
Yeah, just because.
Yeah, at first I was a little hesitant, and then kind of a few things fell into place. I was like, all right, we're doing it. Why not? We have the technology. We're doing it.
That's pretty sweet.
Oh man.
The you've been doing, I don't want to say a lot, but like your personal stuff with 8.6, like hunting, reloading. How's that going for you? I haven't really talked to anybody that's used the 8.6 at all.
I don't think it's going poorly. I think there's maybe a few struggles with converting cases. So as far as I know, it's not a SAMI approved cartridge. So it's kind of just like a wildcat thing. So I would say definitely the hardest part is converting cases. So you basically take a 6.5, or in some instances you can use a 308 case, bump the shoulder back quite a bit, and then trim it to length, and you have to neck it up to 338.
Interesting.
So that whole process, it's a lot, changing the dimensions of the case pretty dramatically. So you run into like ripples in the case, things like that. I think probably 10% of the brass I convert gets thrown away because it just gets messed up somehow. Yeah. I think the other issue you run into, if you get the brass formed and no big dents or tears or anything like that, is the wall thickness of the neck. So the way the chamber print is, you kind of have to have a pretty narrow window of how thick the wall is on the case, or else it just won't chamber because it's too big. So I found that if you use Hornady brass, for example, it has usually thinner walls, and it's a little easier to convert. Otherwise, like some other brands, or if you use 308 brass, usually the brass is a lot thicker, especially like Lake City. There's tons of Lake City 308 brass out there, and it's cheap, so a lot of people want to use it. The downside is you have to neck turn them all, which is, if you've ever done that, it's a terrible process. It takes forever. It's very painstaking. I would not recommend it. So we had pretty good luck using Hornady brass. I think I probably have maybe a few thousand rounds through my gun so far. It's fun to shoot.
Yeah.
It's super quiet. I would say it's quieter than a very quiet 300 Blackout.
Interesting.
And you get a bullet that's maybe 3 times as heavy. So
what length barrel are you shooting it out of?
In my personal gun, I have a 12-inch.
Okay.
So I took a Faxon barrel, converted it to work in my MWS, and it's a little shorter than a normal handguard, so I had to lop the front of my handguard off, which, just take down with the bandsaw, chop it, and clean it up. But it came out pretty cool. I know they make, I think Faxon is one of the few people making like a production barrel. They make an 8, a 12, and a 16-inch.
Okay.
I went with a 12 just because it was close to the existing LMT upper. I thought 8 was maybe a little too short.
Yeah.
Big lanky guy. I got long arms. I don't want some little like PDW.
8.6.
Yeah.
So you can't even buy.
That's what the MP5 SD is for.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
For PDW.
Yeah.
8.6.
Can you? I'm not saying like go to Academy and buy like 8.6 like Hornady off the shelf. You have to basically.
Not yet.
Okay.
There are a few companies making ammo. My buddy Dave Stark over at Discreet Ballistics makes hunting ammo, subsonic hunting ammo.
Okay.
I think it's Gorilla Ammo
Okay.
makes 8.6. I feel like there's a few other kind of mom and pop sort of places that make it. It's not. I feel like right now there's a lot of people that want it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of maybe a little hard to get right now. Kind of like the early days of 300 Blackout.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm sure it just wasn't on the shelf like it is now. It's not like you can go into Academy or whatever your local
Not
sports
like
shop is and get some.
300 Blackout. You're just like, oh, there it is.
Yeah. Like we have a, what is it, Sportsman's Warehouse right by our shop.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, we're like, oh, we need some obscure ammo to test fire or something. Just run over there, and it blows my mind that, like, they just have 300 Blackout sitting on the shelf. You can get subs, you can get supers, you can get whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're really big over there in Utah.
Yeah, that's where. Didn't we stop there when we were there for the PNS?
Yeah.
Was that what it was?
Matching Solomons.
Yeah, twinsies.
Yeah. I actually just threw those away.
Dude, mine got blown out. I need
Yeah.
a new pair.
Yeah, mine had seen better days, so I retired them.
I didn't even see her come in.
Oh, she was here.
Oh, I was like, how did I miss that?
Ian's just
I'm like, well, I'm tired, but I'm not like sleep talking to you guys. Like, how
She's been standing behind you the whole time.
yeah,
she's like, kill him.
yeah. We're sitting here in the hotel, and it's a pretty big room actually, but the cleaning lady was in the. in the other
Wow.
room. It's
You
like-
literally could have like cut my head off, and I would have been like clueless to what.
Didn't even see it coming.
No.
She just walked by, and Ian's like, "Where the fuck?" It's like that meme from The Office, where, like, Dwight's there and Angel's like, "Ah."
That was funny. Okay, where
Back-
were we? Like, wow, I'm not that clueless.
So, any idea what like barrel life is like on those 8.6s? I would imagine it'd be pretty long because it's moving pretty slow, but
I would think so. I would think it'd be pretty long. I mean, it's a nitride barrel. It's a pretty low pressure round. Similar to 300 Blackout. I would think the barrel life's going to be pretty high.
Yeah, it's not like Alpha 1. You're just like, all right, see a barrel.
Yeah, it's not like I don't know, some of those 6mm
yeah,
blasters that the PRS guys
PRC
shoot.
or whatever.
Um,
Some of those are zipping.
I mean,
burning
I would
or-
say I probably get, even after a couple thousand rounds through mine, still shoots well under a minute
Nice.
if I do my part.
Yeah, which is a key factor.
Yeah. I mean, I found, like, I put a thermal on it. Like, I don't know how much shooting you've done behind a thermal, but it's hard to get a decent group.
Yeah, you really can't. Even zeroing it is hard. What I've done is like reflective aluminum tape.
So I tried that, and then I realized so I shoot a lot at a local indoor range, and I was like, oh yeah, the reflective tape needs the sun to heat up so you can see it. So I'm like looking at my target, I'm like, where the heck did I even put that thing? Like I can't see shit.
The other thing is those hot hands, the pocket
I'll
warmers.
have to try that.
Yeah. So it's still a pretty big target, but like you can at least gives you something to kind of look
Somebody sells when I was working at the range, they made like a target that had like a little warmer, like a little hand warmer style target.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's small enough that you actually get a decent group instead of like, well, I hit the hand warmer, but that's like a 2x3.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it depends. I guess it depends on what you're doing with it too.
But yeah, I mean, if you're shooting 100 yards or something, 5 MOA is still plenty for.
How far have you
a pig or something?
Schwacked a pig with that bad boy?
Maybe like 200 yards.
Nice.
So one benefit, this fancy thermal I found has a built-in rangefinder.
Nice.
So you just like put this little box on the pig. It tells you exactly how far it is, and then you just use the reticle to adjust your
you just
elevation.
Hit a button, it like
Yeah. You're like, oh man, this is like too easy.
Bye. Beep.
Lights out. Yeah, probably about 200 yards. I think maybe the one downside I see is really heavy subsonics have a lot of drop.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking like a couple 100 inches at like 300 yards.
Oh, wow.
So
Holy
it's
shit.
like lobbing artillery.
How heavy are the bullets?
The heaviest I usually shoot like if I'm just like doing some plinking, I usually shoot like a 300 grain Match King. But like for pigs, I either use 350 grain copper solid or
350 grains of just nothing but copper.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
You've been cutting pipes out of people's houses in Colorado, bud?
Well, the other thing, too, is, like an idiot, my 8.6 is also full auto.
Ching, ching.
Oh, fuck, that was expensive.
That was like an $80 bag.
I have to do a lot of pin and welds to cover that.
Yeah. Or on like the lighter end, I shoot maybe like a 225 grain, like Barnes, I forget what they call them, like a TTSX, which is also, I think, a pretty popular bullet for 300 Blackout hunting. That seems to work pretty well too. I think maybe the one downside of shooting something light like that is you can't get maybe the velocities you want. So I think for the bullet to perform as in an optimal way, I think you need it to be flying over like 2,000 feet per second. And I think with my testing, you're kind of run into about 1,900 before you start to see pressure signs in the case, which isn't the safest thing. So you kind of have to back off a little bit.
Yeah.
Spicy.
A little too spicy.
Yeah, you kind of want that case to hold up and not.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I mean, if you like your face.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah. Depends.
Yeah.
Kind of like your favorite color.
Yeah, depends.
Depends on what you want.
Depends on how nice looking your face is.
Yeah.
That 300, I mean, that's like a fridge. Like you're literally 350 grain.
It's like that 4570 that I have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
what do you usually shoot out of your 4570?
Like 550 grains.
Yeah. That's
It's
a school bus.
It's like just a big, like most of the the lead, how much lead goes into the cartridge is like insane. It's like 3/4 of the cartridge is taken up by the lead bullet.
Dang.
And then when you have that with a suppressor, I got like a whatever the silencer co is, I think it's the hybrid 46.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice combo. I got a Marlin that that was threaded.
Okay.
It's a pretty. What? And didn't you put a DPP on it?
Yeah, I got a little loophole DPP on there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the ultimate pig slayer too.
Yeah.
I mean, how far do you shoot things with that thing?
I think the longest one we did was like about 150.
Okay.
Yeah. You gotta know your holdovers.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Like that heavy of a bullet going subsonic. But
I don't know if I've heard that shot yet.
So if you go to the indoor range,
Yeah.
at our range, like you'll go boom, and then you'll hear it like
Goosh. Yeah.
on the end of
There's a crater taken out of the backstop.
yeah.
Oops. Oopsie.
No, that's a cool round. Just like I like heavy slow bullets are kind of cool.
I just bought a 4570 the other day myself. Some guy was selling it. He's like, "Oh, it has like some rust on it from sitting in a cabin or something like that." And I got it and literally just took some
Rem oil.
Yeah, red oil, and it like came right off. I'm like, oh, okay. I just got a smoking deal on this thing. And it's like looks brand new.
Yeah.
Like,
After
yeah, I'll
like 2
take that
minutes.
rusty piece of shit.
Oh yeah, it's worth nothing. I haven't shot it yet. I have to look around for some 4570 or get some dice and load some.
There's this place in Montana that I bought those big heavy subs from, and it's all lead cast. It's not like a
Okay.
jacket or anything. But I was having trouble finding some ammo in this place in Montana. I signed up for their email list, and they had some come up, so
Nice.
I bought it, and it's been pretty good so far. I bought like a couple cases of it.
Is it like
Couple keys.
Buffalo Boar or whatever?
No,
I feel like they make a lot of oddball stuff like that.
it's not like the blue, like you talking like the blue box with the yellow and stuff.
I think so. Yeah.
That's Buffalo
Yeah.
Boar.
It's yeah, they make a lot of oddball stuff. It's this other one. It's it seems like a pretty small company because like the owner was like, hey man, yeah, I just got some in. Let me know what you think or whatever. But they came in a big box. Forget the name of it. It's someplace in Montana though.
All right. I'll have to look it up. I'll have to search around. I mean, it's very out of my normal ammo searching realm. So
Buffalo
it's
Boar
like,
probably makes a 4570.
yeah,
They
Oh, yeah.
probably. I mean, I feel like that's one of the popular like cowboy caliber bullet makers.
Yeah, it's was it Hornady? I think they have a subsonic round too. But I couldn't find that in stock. This was like a year ago when I was searching. For
Yeah,
all this
during
ammo.
like the
When
height of
like nothing was in stock.
Yeah.
And 4570 was like the last thing on on Hornady's mind.
Yeah,
They're like,
they're like,
we're gonna be pushing out this other stuff.
We need to make.
You
fuck
can either
like-
find pellets or BBs for your pellet gun, or there's one box of 4570 on the shelf.
Yeah.
So you're into Jeeps too, right?
Yes, yeah. Usually, there's at least one at my shop. So I have a 1949
Oh shit!
Willys
realize they were that
Jeep.
old.
Yeah. So it's
I don't know if I've ever seen a picture of this thing.
really.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
it's so you've seen like a World War II Jeep.
Yeah.
So it's not to confuse it with a World War II Jeep. This is what
A couple years after.
4 years post-war. Very similar. Looks very similar. And this thing, it's funny. There's like two groups of people. A lot of people will ask me like, when are you going to paint that thing? Because it probably has like 7 layers of paint on it. It's like 5 different colors. And a lot of people are like, oh man, look at the patina on that thing.
Yeah, you definitely need to leave it.
Yeah, I mean, it's so cool. It took like, 75 years to look like that?
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it looking like that.
Yeah.
But, it's fun. It's not, I would say it's probably not that much bigger than like a golf cart. It's probably smaller than a newer side-by-side, but like an older, like John Deere Gator.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
probably about that size. And it's street legal.
Oh,
It's street legal, but it has, there's power, nothing.
oh
So
yeah. So
no power brakes, no power steering.
Does it like have doors or is it like the fold down
No
window?
doors.
No doors.
It has a fold down windshield.
roof.
No roof.
Dude, that's
No roll bar.
gangster.
No seat belts. It doesn't even have turn signals. Because from the factory, it just didn't. They didn't
Yeah.
have turn
yeah, it was
signals.
49.
Yeah.
And I forget if it was 40. I think maybe 49 was the first year they put 2 taillights on it. So like I have a bunch of friends with all these old Jeeps, and some of the guys, have kept theirs pretty original, and some of them are like a 48 or 47, and they have 1 taillight, and they get pulled over all the time, or someone will like stop them in traffic, be like, "Oh, your taillight's out." Like, "Oh, like there's only 1 taillight." They're like, "Yeah, your other one's out." Like, "No, there isn't another taillight."
It's not there.
I have one.
Yeah, so you got to drive around. You got to use the arm signals like you're riding a bike, and some people just look at you like, "What is wrong?"
Oh god,
with
that's
this
gotta be
person?"
hard. Like when you're trying to not power turn.
Oh yeah.
You are the power turn.
So and
Power
then so you're trying to use your arm to turn,
And
or-
it's manual.
or signal. so it's a manual, but
Yeah.
then there's 2 shifters.
Oh, it's double clutch.
So there's a shifter for the transmission, and then there's this auxiliary overdrive, which has a lever too. And then there's 2 more levers for the 4-wheel drive. So you look at this thing, you're like, why does this thing have 4 levers in it? Like, what do I even do with all these? So we, my girlfriend Danielle and I, we like to take it out in the mountains in Colorado. There's tons of 4x4 trails all over the place.
I would say that thing's probably like unstoppable.
So I've done some stuff to it, like I put different gearing in the transmission and stuff, so you can literally like put it in low range and first gear, and it'll go like maybe 3 miles an hour, and it'll literally like idle over anything.
Yeah.
Sprawl.
But it's crazy. It's so small you can get it to go like anywhere. There's this cool guy on YouTube. His name is Stan Fuller. If you look up Grandpa's Jeep, so he has this Jeep. His is maybe like a 47 that was his grandpa's, or maybe it was his dad's. I don't know. But he 4-wheels the shit out of that thing, and you would be amazed at the places he's gotten this to go.
Yeah.
He'll like take it. I think he lives in Utah. He'll take it to Moab and just run circles around people in like their lifted Rubicon brand new thing, and he'll just be like, "Well, what's your problem? I can't drive."
Yeah, hurry up.
Yeah, but it's so cool. Like I've met tons of cool people with it. It's I think in groups of people that have all these little Jeeps, it's like about the experience. It's not like, oh, you have this whiz bang Jeep with all these doodads on it. It's just getting together with people, having a good time.
Yeah.
It's fun. I think right now I'm working on putting a small diesel engine in it, so that's kind of my winter project. I'm gonna tear out the current engine. That's it.
Yeah, dude, that's
Oh yeah.
that's gangster.
Yeah, it's so cool.
We'll
Like,
throw up a picture on the video for the YouTube people.
And it's got a little winch on it.
yeah. And I have a little tow bar on it, so I literally just hook it up to the back of my truck
Nice.
and
yeah.
just take it wherever I want to go. Like I think the furthest. So when I lived in Wisconsin, I had it. Like I would just tow it to the East Coast, back to my parents' house in Pennsylvania. Just like bomb around Pennsylvania for the weekend,
Oh yeah. Just
and then just drive back.
yeah.
Like, do you ever take that to like the grocery store and just like, all right, gotta go get the groceries?
Sometimes, yeah.
I could like, just imagine you getting out, like just riding, because you're a tall dude,
Yeah.
and getting out of this tiny Jeep and like getting
Yeah.
back. All right, see you guys later.
I mean, it's almost comical just because it's so small.
Yeah.
And I love to drive it around with the windshield down,
Yeah.
like a lunatic. So the thing is, it doesn't go very fast.
Yeah.
Like I think usually it's maybe about 45.
How is
Yeah.
that street legal, but like the Japanese mini trucks aren't street legal?
I will say a Japanese mini truck would be pretty cool.
Dude.
Like I would buy and drive one of those in a heartbeat.
Maddie wants one real
Oh
bad.
yeah. She is all in the mini truck. Like she's all on that train.
So when I used to work in the corporate world, I took a couple trips to Japan.
Oh nice.
And like everyone in Japan has a mini truck. Like if you are in the trades, or just maybe if you're just a guy, it's like guy code, you just have a mini truck. And you're like, man, that is so sweet. It's just like this little cab forward, 4-wheel drive thing, and they're like zipping around everywhere.
Yeah.
Like one of those would be so handy.
Yeah, and dude, some of them have dump beds on them.
Yeah.
They're like mini dump trucks.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a fucking gangster picture of that.
Yeah, that was right near the top of Mount Antero. So in Colorado, there's like 52 peaks that are over 14,000 feet.
Oh wow.
And Mount Antero is like one of 2, maybe one of 3 that you can drive almost the whole way to the top. So we've like taken that thing up that high. When you're up that high in altitude, since it's carbureted, like
Oh.
barely makes any power. Not to say that it makes any power to begin with, but yeah, you're just like kind of putting up the mountain, hoping it doesn't vapor lock and you can actually get back down.
You're like, we'll be coasting this thing down the hill.
And that may have been the day too. That picture you just pulled up. There was one day we were out screwing around. So we do this thing in the fall, called the Fall Colors Tour. So a bunch of buddies with Jeeps like this. we just kind of go see all the fall colors in Colorado, drive around the mountains for a week. There was one day, we were just getting started, got to the trailhead, airing down the tires, and I look over at Danielle, I was like, the brake stopped working.
Is that this picture with the tire off?
Oh, that was a different trip. So I have had the tire fall off on this thing a few times. I just looked at her. I was like, well, I mean, we don't have brakes, but we got the whole day to go. I mean, at least we got this parking brake. So I just drove the whole day with just the parking brake.
Oh, hell yeah.
And like the parking brake, you know how like the top of a cane is, kind of arched? Like it looks like that, and you just pull it out of the dash. Like that is the parking brake. Like, okay, I guess I've got to like wrench on this thing every time we need to brake. Like, hopefully this thing doesn't break too.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ian, I've had a few incidents with tires falling off.
Yeah, I mean it's from 47?
Yeah, 49. Yeah.
49.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah, I mean wasn't built today. I mean there's tires that fall off new cars, so add a couple years to it. Dude, that's hella cool. I'm totally jealous.
It's like it's so much fun.
Where do you how'd you find that thing?
The internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bring a trailer.
So it was kind of funny. So I bought it when I lived in Wisconsin. I was out in Colorado doing this fall colors tour one year. And if you look in the pictures closely, you can kind of see under like the 47 layers of paint that there was like some advertising on it at one point. So someone pointed out. Someone pointed out. They're like, "Oh yeah, this is like a Denver address." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." I never really thought much of it. So then, like 2 years later, when I moved to Denver, I was like, "You know what? We should like look this up and see like what it was." So like one year, we were bored over Thanksgiving, and we're like, "Oh, let's go to the public library and look this up." So we looked up, like, went to their archives, looked through all these like old business records, and found that at that address, I think back in maybe the early 60s, there's this place called Camperland. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So I went home and like sanded off a little bit more of the paint so I could see more of the advertising. And sure enough, right on the side of the Jeep, it says Camperland. I was like, oh man, that's so cool. So the Jeep actually came from Denver, was in Wyoming for a while. I bought it in Wisconsin. And then funny enough, like years later, I moved back to Denver and took the Jeep with me. So
That's cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a little like overland trailer for it or anything?
I've thought about it. Like I've had funny roundabout story. So that particular Jeep was actually invented by this company called Bantam.
Okay.
It was actually in my dad's hometown, Butler, Pennsylvania. So back in the war, as things were spooling up for World War II, they needed like this light reconnaissance vehicle. I think Bantam at the time had like 15 employees, and in I want to say like 2 months they completely designed the Jeep. It went on to go through a few iterations later through war procurement, but Bantam invented this Jeep, and they also made like a little trailer to go with it.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. And I've had a few trailers over the years, but I just never end up having like a good place to store them, so I always sell them.
Yeah.
But it was funny. My grandfather worked at a steel mill and actually worked in the same building that these Bantam trailers were made in, like 30 years prior for the war.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of those overland trailers that people either build or whatever.
I think Joe actually has one.
Oh,
from LMT.
Yeah. I think he has
he
one for like to go as Forerunner or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. That's where I see him a lot is dudes with their newer Jeeps or Forerunners have some pretty crazy setups.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But it's fun. It's kind of like a very odd, obscure hobby.
How much does one of those cost? Like initial, not how much you put into it and how much you keep putting into it.
Like I bought mine and it was kind of running pretty intact.
Kind of started.
I think I paid like maybe $3,000 for it.
Yeah,
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty cheap. A fair number of people have them, so you can kind of find most parts for them. I feel like the struggle for me when I first got it was like trying to figure, like there'd be something you can clearly tell something is missing. Like I know there should be something here. I'm not quite sure what that something should be, and where I can find the parts to make it whole again.
Nice.
So it's kind of an adventure.
You gotta learn how to drive it with all your fucking levers on.
Doodads and
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is like originally it has have you ever driven an old truck with the foot button for the high beams?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So it has that for the high beams, but it also has another one that starts it.
Oh shit.
So
you never have to worry about getting it stolen.
So
nobody's
it's
gonna
always
figure
like
out how to
this
fucking drive it.
hokey pokey thing with like trying to get it started, driving, and then if you're like on a hill and rolling backwards, it can be a handful. I always tell people like you never know if you're actually going to get to where you're going, you're going to break down, or you're going to die in a blazing inferno.
Just all of the above.
It could be any of them. You never know. And like I always drive around town. I'm like, yep. I broke down on that corner. Yep, broke down over there. Ran out of gas.
Tire fell off over there.
Yep.
Oh god.
Nice. Good time.
Yeah. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
This was fun, man.
Yeah. I'm glad we got to hang out.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
I feel like this week is kind of struggle. You got all these people you want to see. You're all in the same place at the same time. So.
There's like 10 more people that I need to see in like 3 hours, and it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. Every year there's like a huge list of people that just never link up.
Yeah. Just not enough time of the day.
It's so huge out here,
Yeah.
I just went down to the basement before this to try to find somebody that I wanted to link up with who's been emailing me, or us, I should say. And I don't think they updated the app for the map, because I think it's like last year's map, because I went to Roscoe and talked with them, and they're not in the spot. So I spent like 20 minutes looking for Roscoe, finally found them.
Oh, geez.
And then I went to the basement, and I'm like, I have to figure out how to get out of the basement now to get to the podcast, because this isn't going well.
It is kind of confusing. Like, I didn't even know the bridge over to Caesars was like a thing.
Yeah.
And someone was like, oh, yeah, you got to take the bridge over to Caesars. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
that
lot of
whole
stuff
world
here.
over there.
I think it can be challenging. Like, every day you really got to plan out to, like, who you're going to go see and chat with. And
Yeah, next year I think we're gonna like actually map it out and be like, this is the route we're gonna take, and go hit these, and then because like on Tuesday I was running here and running there and running back all over the place.
Well, I feel like, have you guys used the app a lot?
So we use the app to like be like, okay, we need to go to this booth and it's next to FN, so we're gonna look up for the big FN sign and then kind of use that as like landmarks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing I use it for is the map, but my map is not right.
Oh wow.
Are you looking at the right year?
Yeah. Did you download the 2022?
Is it a different app every year?
No, I think if when you open up the app, you can like load like 2023 SHOT Show map.
I'm gonna be real mad if
Like, this whole time.
goddamn technology.
Ian's going back to paper maps. He's like, screw this phone.
Yeah,
He's gonna print them out ahead of time.
what was
Print out a whole directory.
what was that back in the day when you like before GPS?
MapQuest.
MapQuest. And
Yeah, you print off the directions.
yeah, you're like, these fucking suck
And then
too.
then you had to make sure you zeroed your trip odometer
Yeah.
before you left. And then if you like would take a wrong turn, you're like, oh shit! Now all my
my calculations.
all my calculations are gonna be wrong. God damn it!
Yeah, those kids these days, man.
They have it so easy.
Yeah.
Fact.
Well, thank you again, man.
Yeah, thanks for
hang
having
out
me.
with
I'm glad we got to catch up.
Yeah,
to
man,
see
it
you.
was, it was cool.
Good to see you, Ian.
Yeah.
Oh, funny story. So your picture sticker
Yeah.
thing. Danielle asked the other day. She's like, "Who is this?" I was like, "Oh, that's Ian from Big Tech." She's like, "Really? That's like a real person?" I was like, "Oh yeah."
So
He actually,
yeah, yesterday Chris tags me in a post, and Chris actually had like an anime artist, draw that picture, and she works a lot with like Weapon Outfitters and everything. And she was here, and I was like, I need to go find her. And like,
oh, I saw that. That's awesome.
So like, I walk up, and she's like, "There's my supermodel," and I was like, "You're making me blush." Stop.
That's funny.
Yeah. So I was like, that was fun.
I think next year we're gonna bring like pictures of Ian. He can be at the booth like signing them,
There you go.
autographing them.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's how I broke into my supermodeling career.
Well, hey, you gotta start somewhere.
Well, thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate you. Go check out Dave and all his stuff at Deep Wilson. Hit Google, like you can find him. It's easy.
Or if you Google pin and weld, find the very first search result.
Excellent.
That's nice.
So Google pin and weld. It'll take you take you right there. But yeah, we really appreciate y'all watching. Thank y'all for tuning in, and yeah, I guess we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.